Awareness meditation practice, I think, is the simplest of all. And yet it has the most profound depth and meaning, fulfillment and purpose in our lives. What's the greater nature of life? Our own greater fulfillment, our own greater meaning. There seems to be so much struggle, conflict within ourselves and within the world. Is there a greater meaning, a greater wholeness, a greater oneness, in which there's no conflict, no struggle, no effort to become something else, but rather the realization of what is and who oneself is? Can we live in such a way that life is not an effort? In nature, without our thought or effort, everything happens in perfect timing. A synchronicity and a spontaneity all of its own. In ourselves as a body, our breathing, our digestion, our circulation, the natural urges that arise, all this happens without our purposeful thought or effort. There are thoughts which occur and actions which we perform which are in harmony with the whole nature and flow of existence, which is different to the personal struggle, effort and conflict, which are thinking, individual, separate minds, egos and efforts often interfere with. So can we use our awareness, our minds, for a higher purpose, a higher fulfillment, one beyond the mundane worries and struggles of daily life? Can we allow our daily lives to happen in a seamless flow and synchronicity with life and each other? What can we do to bring about an absolute fulfillment, a beauty, a joy, a peace, a freedom within ourselves, which is not one that we have to attain or get from someone or somewhere else or from some particular activity, but rather a realization, one which is beyond all thoughts and beliefs, an actual inner realization of who we are and what life is as one whole, a great oneness of being, consciousness. If one can free oneself of the daily worries and struggles, doesn't one's mind naturally turn to a greater spiritual realization? Our natural awareness sees the life, the world, in a wondrous, amazing way of interconnection and non-separation, non-effort. And that beauty and energy takes us along through life in an entirely different way to the struggles, efforts, conflicts, and wars of humanity. Where does it all begin for oneself? Throughout history, spiritual journeys involve meditation, the deeper inner realization of oneself, the opening of the mind and the silence of the mind. How does this come about? If you sit quietly and observe, and become completely engaged in your awareness, your observation, you find this brings about a natural order, a calmness, a relaxation, a clearing of the turbulence of emotions, the confusion of thoughts, the racing mind, obsessed with trivialities, the past, speculations of the future. Awareness is always now. If you completely become one with your awareness, there's no ego possible in the mind at the same time as when you're completely aware. The ego, or the sense of self, which is created out of thoughts, memories, identifications with body, with our lives, with our possessions, with our ambitions, our fears, hopes, dreams, and so on. That separate ego identity which separates us from life is like a shadow. It simply cannot exist in the light of awareness. In the same way, our divisive thoughts about others and the world we live in also is like darkness, which cannot coexist in the light of pure awareness. It begins and is tremendously simple. It is always now, whether now as in this moment, or now as in tomorrow, or the next day, or the next day. It's always now. Time is within the mind, a measurement placed on top of a singular being and consciousness, which is life and self. How do we fully realise this one state of consciousness and being, which we are and which life is? When you're completely aware, inwardly and outwardly, at first you see the sensations of the body, perceptions that come through the senses, and the image we create of ourselves and the world. If we go beyond that by staying with our pure awareness, simply observing, watching, we can see that that image changes. Everything is in a constant state of change. And yet, it's all within a changeless space. A changeless space of mind, a changeless space of being, a changeless awareness, a changeless consciousness. And awareness, consciousness and being are all one. Our thoughts of the world may be there. Our sensations may be there. We may act in the world, speak to each other, converse, perform mundane functions. And yet this all takes place spontaneously, in a harmony and an order of its own. And there's a greater part of reality which is quiet, empty, silent, beginningless, endless. That greater part is seen to be the vast whole, the deeper reality, the deeper truth, from which this whole, changing shapes and forms, experiences, changing worlds and lifetimes, appear as dancing reflections on the surface, without any innate substance of their own. Just as we have no substance, the world has no substance. in its changing forms, experiences and so on, changing perceptions, changing activities. And that deep transcendence which we are, which our pure awareness reveals to us, as the great reality that has always been there. Like a dreamer beyond all the dreams of life and living. So, this whole life can be a contrasting opposite, an illusory one, when compared to the greater being, the greater consciousness, the greater oneness, which we all are. And our awareness, our deep meditation, is the revealing of that greater boundless, free state of being and consciousness, an absolutely blissful realization. To this end, the human life has a tremendous purpose, meaning. Without the changing world and changing experiences, there would be no contrast so that we could recognize our greater self, the one being, one existence, boundless, peaceful, blissful and free, and its light is the beauty in the world. I'm offering gatherings for those who wish to attend and would like to contribute towards a group gathering where everyone is equal. It's a circle without a head. A space for silent meditation together and spiritual talk and sharing. I'm offering to facilitate such events for those who are interested. If this is of interest to you, please make contact, send a message. And more information and what's necessary in locations and so on can be provided. I look forward to meeting you. Or please enjoy the communications that I do through media, which require no personal contact. Thank you.